All right, welcome to our ABC 24 Plus live streaming show. We're going to continue our coverage of the clean air concerns that are happening in Southwest Memphis. That was a brief live look into a press conference that's going to be happening any minute now. We're just waiting on a couple more people to arrive, and then we'll take you out there live. The press conference all deals with the air quality concerns that stem from the xAI facility and the use of the gas turbines that are associated with it. Obviously, this has been an ongoing issue for months, and now the NAACP and environmental groups, along with Representative Justin Pearson, are calling for some change. That's who's going to be holding that press conference today. I believe they've all arrived. Let's take you live now to that press conference.
And for what you want, actually. But then there are times come out that closet and ask God openly for what you need. So we're going to ask God this morning to strengthen our hands to do his work. God, we thank you this morning, and we're here because you called us to be here. Yes, Lord. There's a work to be done, and you call these hands to do your work. Now we want you to encourage our heart, keep us strong, encourage our mind. Don't let us be disturbed. God, we ask you to just give us what we need to do the work. You said that you have already provided the desires in our heart, and you have already given us the strength to do your work that pleases you. Yes. And God, we hope what we do today and going forward will please you, because it will take care of your people. Yes. In Jesus' name we pray, thank God, amen.
Amen. So, good morning. Thank you so much to President Tipton and the NAACP here in DeSoto County, and so many other folks who have joined today. We have the Mississippi Democratic Party chair and also our DeSoto County Democratic Executive Committee chairwoman here. And we're going to give everybody a couple of minutes just to speak, because this is a movement about people, and it's to show that we are connected and interconnected in the struggle against pollution. We know what the proposal is, or rather, we have seen the exploration of an idea by xAI to have 45 to 90 gas turbines, either potentially in Memphis, potentially here in South Haven. But we want to show them and show our community that we are united in our effort to make sure that the fundamental human right to clean air is respected, and that we ain't going nowhere. This just across the street, just across the border. It don't take us no time to get here, and that we are connected in this fight and in this struggle together. I'll say a couple of things, and then I'll hand it over to our Democratic Party chairs. But you know, Mayor Young last week said something on national news that was stupid. He said that he's only concerned about air pollution indoors, but unconcerned about air pollution outdoors, as hundreds of tons of nitrogen oxide and formaldehyde is being pumped into the air of Southwest Memphis, of people here in DeSoto County, of folks in Arkansas. And it's ridiculous that elected officials are continuing to pretend like we don't have a problem. For over 3 years, we have been in non-attainment as it relates to smog and ozone level pollution, which has increased the amount of asthma and respiratory illnesses that have been triggered by people in our communities. In Shelby County in particular, we have the most hospitalizations as it relates to asthma. And in 38109, the community where I live, where we're from, it has some of the highest numbers of kids with asthma in the entire state. We have a problem. That's it. The air quality problem in our counties of DeSoto, in our county of Shelby, in our county of Arkansas, Creighton County in Arkansas, is real. And we petitioned the EPA last week because we know that nothing has been done in any of our counties or states to actually meaningfully address the problem. We deserve clean air. Yes. That's not radical. It shouldn't be political. That's right. But because we are standing up against multi-billion-dollar corporations like xAI, Valero Oil Refinery, Nucor Steel, the Tennessee Valley Authority, who has operations here in DeSoto County and across the border in Shelby County, there are politicians and people in power who want us to be quiet, who are telling us that it's in our best interest to accept a few pennies of change and tax dollars rather than stand up for people's right to breathe clean air. Well, our message is clear. We are united. We will fight for the right to clean air, and we ain't going nowhere. This movement is going to continue to build, and we are going to demand that elected officials and appointed officials and everybody do what is in the best interest of the people in our neighborhoods and the people in our communities. And we're not going to allow the myths and the half-truths from Mayor Young, Mayor Lee Harris, the Chamber of Commerce, or anybody else stop us from what we know to be right, what we know to be good, what we know to be true for the people. It is so interesting how many facts folks have without any real science, how many opinions they have without talking to people who are proximate, and how many ideas they have about what we need in our communities with a few million tax dollars instead of the billions of dollars that we need to truly transform our environments to be more whole, more just, and make it more equitable. And so we in this thing for the long haul.
Yes.
And I am so grateful and so thankful to each of you because you see us standing here, but we represent thousands upon thousands of people across our communities who want for us to breathe clean air, ensure we have clean water to drink, and ensure we have a safe and healthy environment to live in. With that, I'll pass it over to Chairman Taylor and also Chairwoman Williams.
Thank you so much.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
My name is Sheck Taylor, State Representative and Chairman of the Mississippi Democratic Party. And my message is a little different. My message actually deals with the political side of things. Because right now we're dealing with a battle of corporations, and we know that corporations are heavily being favored by Republicans these days. And we cannot put profit before people.
That's right.
That's right.
Let's not do that. In fact, what I'm encouraging everyone on Fox, on Channel 3 and Channel 13, all listening members to actually start registering to vote.
That's right. Yeah.
Got to do that.
That's right.
But also candidates raise up
That's right.
from grassroots efforts
That's right.
to take the lead on this thing.
That's right.
You see, we do understand that it's important to have a job to go to. We all understand
That's
that.
right.
But we cannot put the economy before the environment
That's right.
because we have to live in these communities. And why are these African-American communities?
Exactly.
Yes.
Let's be honest. In the state of Mississippi, the goal is to separate Republicans from Democrats on race alone.
That's right.
So if you're a Democrat in this state, you probably look like me. And if you're a Democrat who actually opposes these things, you could be of any race, of any color. But at the end of the day, we cannot allow this to happen in our neighborhoods.
That's right.
This is the equivalent to having Memphis Airport right as your next door neighbor.
Come on.
Right. That's right.
So if that's offensive to you, then rise up as leaders in your own communities to come up and stand against this poisonous regime. And by the way, can you trust Elon Musk to tell the truth?
No. No.
Can you trust him to tell the truth?
No.
Because at the end of the day, we know that he's been a super crony of President Donald Trump, a super crony who lied on many occasions. And just as the great representative spoke about, there were so many plans that so many operations he said was existing, but actually it was far more than that. And if you're going to bring that to the state of Mississippi, you're going to be opposed on every front.
That's right.
So please register to vote, stand up in your own communities, register as a Democrat to win because we have the policies that align with people,
That's right.
every working class person.
That's right.
So please listen to this clarion call that it's time to rise up, especially with these special elections and the upcoming midterms. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Taylor. I'm Dr. Deborah Williams, Chair of the DeSoto County Democratic Executive Committee. Thank you so much, Chair Taylor, and thank you so much, Representative Pearson. What he's saying resonates with me because, as you know, we had a great election, an important election that just took place in Horn Lake, Mississippi, where we have now acquired the mayor's seat and 5 of the alderman seats.
Yes.
And the reason that I bring that up is because representation matters.
That's it.
Our community matters.
Yes.
Our communities vote and their voice matter. And I think that we're starting to see as a community that when these type things happen, when people are coming into our communities, bringing things that are toxic to our children, to our parents, that we have to rise up, we have to
Yes.
speak up,
Yes.
and we have to let them know that that's not going to be allowed in our area. So I thank Representative Pearson for coming out tonight. I do know that our communities are definitely worth fighting for,
Yes.
and we are going to be doing just that.
That's right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
We have the president of the NAACP, Kermit Moore.
Good morning.
Morning.
I'm Kermit Moore, president of the Memphis NAACP. The Memphis branch and the Tennessee State Conference stand with the citizens of DeSoto County to fight xAI.
Yes.
We must stand up for our environment.
Yes.
We breathe air.
That's right.
We shouldn't be fighting for clean air.
Yes.
Clean air is a human right.
Yes.
And we got folks want to buy our rights by passing out a few dollars in the community. We are totally against it. And as I said, the Memphis branch and the Tennessee State Conference will fight xAI until we win.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. I'm Scott Banbury with the Sierra Club.
What's up, Scott Bamber? I'm the conservation director for the Tennessee chapter of the Sierra Club. I'm going to tell you that just last week, I was in South Haven looking at the infrastructure being laid already for 45 to 90 turbines emitting nitrogen oxides and formaldehyde into the South Haven community. And they have not applied for a permit yet. For a year, they've been operating 35 gas-burning turbines in Memphis, belching out formaldehyde and nitrogen oxides. We've known now for 4 years that Memphis metropolitan statistical area, that includes DeSoto County, that includes Crittenden County, has been in unattainment for smog levels. But nobody's doing anything about it. And these operations are allowing to put themselves in place and operate without permits, without any analysis concern of how that's going to impact the health of the people in our region. We must stop this build out of burning fossil fuels in our community that are causing direct harm to people in our communities and giving away our health to a person who ain't from around here.
Come on.
And isn't putting anything into our community. I've talked to local labor leaders. They're not using International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers to do any of the work that's happening here. They brought people from out of town in, and I guess some of our motels are maybe making some money as those workers are here in our town, but it's not returning to our communities. Instead, we're being stuck with the health burden.
That's right.
Of the profits that he's taking, sucking out of our community and out of our lungs. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Orion Overstreet with Tigers vs. Pollution.
Hi, my name is Orion Overstreet. I am a seasonal park ranger at Meem and Shelby State Forest, about 45 minutes that way. And we are so careful with the life that is there. We know that if you were to take the time to do a study and you walked into a piece of untreaded forest, it would take 7 years for that piece of ground to look like it had and to have the same amount of biodiversity in it that it had. And we have the science that tells us how careful we have to be with the air and how careful we have to be with the land, not just for animals and trees and state parks, but for human beings.
That's right.
And for our state to be funding our state parks and rangers like me to be taking that intentional care of animals, but not be looking after the people here, that's what evil looks like. That's what money looks like, and that's what evil looks like. We know what people need. These people know what their communities need to be safe, to keep living lives that.
It's all right.
I'm disgusted by this, and I think that anybody with a heart should be.
That's right. Next, we hear from Paul Klein with Climate Reality Project.
Hi, Paul Klein. I am co-chair of the Climate Reality Project's Memphis and Mid-South Regional Chapter. We stand in solidarity with this community, with Memphis, with this area, and the people therein, standing up against this corporate giant coming in and taking advantage, exploiting as the sign says. The people, they came into an area that's been exploited. Areas that were originally in Memphis redlined,
That's right.
they have become sacrifice zones.
That's right.
Climate Reality Project believes that environmental justice is social justice.
Yes. Yes.
And it is so apparent when these corporations, and by the way, before Elon came to town, we already had 17 toxic
Yes.
release facilities in South Memphis, an area that has four times the cancer rate.
That's right.
And as they spoke, higher asthma rates.
Yep.
This just has to stop. And so if we can lend our voice to try to lift up the cries of the community, air affects everyone.
That's right.
Water affects everyone.
That's right.
What we haven't really talked about today so far is how much water
That's right.
xAI is using.
Yep.
1.5 million gallons a day so far, from what we understand, and they haven't even built this second plant yet. Where's that water coming from? It's coming from the Memphis Sands aquifer.
That's right.
And I'm telling you, we have to come together as a community on both sides of this state line. We are all one here, and we need to rise up as one. So
right.
we just want to lend our voice and our platform to that and let this community know that we're with them. Thank you.
Next we have for Richard Massey.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Richard Massey. I'm a community organizer and proud student of the University of Memphis. Since June of last year, when xAI initially established Colossus in direct proximity to churches like this one and small businesses and homes in Boxtown, they've since opted to expand operations into another historically Black community in Whitehaven, right across state lines from where we stand right now. After refusing to come to the table with ordinary residents who've called Boxtown and Whitehaven home for decades, xAI has done everything in its power to mislead and deceive Memphis's most vulnerable. At the same time, while those methane gas turbines that operate at xAI's Colossus have propelled the company to become the single largest polluter in all of Memphis,
Come on.
xAI quietly moved to install between 40 and 90 methane gas turbines to power a second data center on Tulane Road. Again, without including residents in any of these processes where their ability to breathe clean air and drink clean water are on the chopping block. Again, while willingly misleading residents by publicly stating that there were no plans to actually install the turbines to begin with. Turbines that will emit formaldehyde and nitrous oxide within half a mile from schools like the John P. Freeman School that serves K-8 kids throughout Whitehaven. So while the richest man in the world and the president of the United States trade childish insults on social media, his company is suffocating South Memphis's children and elders. And this issue transcends Elon Musk and xAI. This is a generational and seemingly endless slow killing of our neighbors.
Come on.
This is the intentional worsening of a public health crisis that dates back to when Memphis was first regarded as the nation's leading chemical exporter.
Come on.
Where our loved ones, fathers, mothers, grandparents, brothers, and sisters suddenly develop ailments and cancers that have no place within the family trees.
Come on.
Folks, this is a moment that requires us all to elect good trouble.
Yes.
For every corner of Memphis to come together to denounce a blatant injustice.
That's right.
But as we stand here today in South Haven, Mississippi, we beg the question, how may this community be exploited and deceived? Why are turbines situated in a county where smog levels have exceeded federal minimum standards? We question, why are data centers that are belching out harmful pollutants propping up across the Mid-South and communities like Crittenden County, my home community, and in DeSoto County and Shelby County? Why is an area that has been given a failing grade by the American Lung Association situated in the middle of a data center boom? This is an inflection point for not only Memphis' sake, but also the entire Mid-South. To declare that we aren't a dumping ground for xAI's executives or AI executives hell-bent at generating profit, but a region rife with stories, beautiful histories, culture, and an unrivaled resilience to struggles like this one. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Done. morning.
Good morning.
My name is Jonathan Isom. I am from the Westwood and Walker Homes community. I am the co-founder of Youth Minds United, and I'm here today because our community is being left in the dark again.
Yeah.
xAI wants to bring gas turbines into South Haven in our neighborhoods and our families, and they're doing it without telling us. Again, their data center could use enough power for 40% of Shelby County. They're talking about dozens of gas turbines, no clear permits, no public meetings at all, no answers on where the water and power will come from. And the last time they did this, it's still releasing toxic chemicals like formaldehyde and smog right into the communities like mine.
Yeah.
This isn't just about business, it's about our health, our future, and our air. We deserve transparency, environmental protection, and a seat at the table. I'm standing up for the youth, the families, and for everyone who's been ignored for too long. We will be heard. We won't back down. Protect our community and our people. Thank you all.
Thank you. Keyshawn Pearson, MCAP.
Good morning, everybody. Keyshawn Pearson with Memphis Community Against Pollution. And the first thing that I want to say is that we are already in a climate catastrophe.
That's right.
It is not coming. It is not impending. The other thing that I want to recognize is that the borders that we draw don't hold back any pollution.
That's right.
The lines that we've drawn across Arkansas, the lines that we've drawn across Mississippi to separate us, they don't exist to air pollution. Air pollution travels everywhere. And we know, because we know that our partners at the environment, well, not our partners now, but we have worked with the Environmental Protection Agency to determine how do we reduce the smog in our area, because we know we've been out of attainment for 3 years. And so they got Mississippi, Arkansas, and Tennessee on an advanced plan to reduce the smog. Unfortunately, our Shelby County Health Department only sought to change the stops, to add more stop signs, and to change the interchanges, and to build a roundabout to address the pollution. They believe that it is the trucks that are driving our roads. They believe it's the cars, and they don't believe it's Valero. They don't believe it's the Tennessee Valley Authority. They don't believe it's xAI that is causing so much pollution that we have our children missing more school than anyone else because they have medical emergencies. We have our families ailing and dying earlier than anyone else because we have a higher cancer rate. They believe that it is the cause. But what we know is that it is the continued proliferation of industry that has been allowed to exploit us over and over again, from sterilization services of Tennessee to the Tennessee Valley Authority, and how they're trucking through the coal ash through the same community that breathed it in the first place. Nitrogen oxide, formaldehyde, these names are chemicals that we know cause respiratory illnesses and respiratory issues. A healthy environment and clean air is not a zero-sum game. If you get it in Memphis, it doesn't mean you take it away from Mississippi. It is all of our collective responsibility to ensure that we have a healthy environment that we all can live, breathe, play, grow into a future where everybody has the same access to freedom, prosperity, growth, and a healthy, long life. Thank you.
Very good. So first, thank you all so much for making the time. We are at a critical point in our counties, and we have a collective responsibility to do everything, which includes organizing across these imaginary boundaries that we have created. Because as was articulated, pollution don't care.
That's right.
Whether you in DeSoto, it don't know DeSoto County, it don't know Shelby County, it don't know Crittenden County.
Come on.
It just knows that it exists. And industrial polluters are the most extreme cause of pollution and the smog that we're seeing in our neighborhoods and that we are experiencing in our lives. We're continuing to see a lack of transparency, a harm to our environment. We have questions about where the water will come from, because y'all know we got the best water in the world.
In the world.
Right here in DeSoto County and Shelby County, we share the Memphis sand aquifer, just like we share the air that we breathe. And we don't know where they're planning to get the water from, whether it's going to be trucked in, and that again going to increase smog, or they're going to use our drinking water to cool this plant that needs about 1.56 gigawatts of power. There are so many questions, and too many people who are in positions of power to do something haven't asked them.
That's right.
And so we are demanding, just as many elected officials here are standing in support of our community, that Mayor Young, that Mayor Harris, Director Taylor answer the community's questions and demand more from xAI about their plans. With that, we'll take any questions, and then before we go, we'll end in prayer with Dr. Javon Marshall.
Rep. Pearson,
Yeah.
On national news, Mayor Young stated he would like to exploit xAI for our good in this community. Is that possible?
No, and that's a very ignorant comment, and Mayor Young should know better. xAI is a $12 billion company. Our budget as a city is nearing $1 billion. You know, when I was growing up, it'd say big bank, take little bank.
Come on.
Yeah, how can you exploit the exploiter?
Come on.
That's stupid, silly talking points.
Can't
And
use the same
he
tools.
needs to talk to people who actually know better and people who are proximate.
That's right.
And I'm tired. I honestly am exhausted that he is ignoring the people who I represent and who he represents. He may not be a constituent of District 86, but I'm a constituent of the city of Memphis. And the people that I serve, who are also my neighbors, do not want more pollution for the sake of a couple of $1 million that he's saying we're going to get. It'd be a 1.5% increase, potentially, to the city's budget. But do you want to know something surprising? The mayor didn't even put xAI's proposed tax increases in his own budget.
Right.
And Mayor Lee Harris, finally coming off of his silent streak, said, you know, companies typically don't even pay the taxes that they say they're going to.
Yep.
So we're being exploited for money that don't even exist.
Right.
About the possibility of money coming into our community, $15 million, $16 million. But the truth of the matter is, yes, that's something, but that's not anything compared to what we need. That's equivalent to what it was to pay the police overtime last year. The community center and the police building that they're building in Southwest Memphis at 38109 costs $30 million. So we're not talking about significant amounts of money.
Right.
And I assure you, there is no amount of money that anybody in 38109 is willing to pay to die. We prefer our lungs to Elon Musk profits.
Mhm.
Thank you for your question, though.
I have a question for Keyshawn as
Yeah.
well.
Yep.
You're all asking local leaders to deny xAI's current and future air permit applications. Do you feel like you've been making headway over the years? And how does Dr. Taylor moving on impact your fight? And what would you like to see in the next for her success?
Yeah. So for years, Memphis Community Against Pollution has continuously pushed our Shelby County Health Department to do what is right, to stand up and stand with the community, and that has not been done. We had to resort to litigation during the sterilization service of Tennessee fight, and that still fell through. And our Shelby County Department still has not moved forward in a way that we know will protect us long term. And so what we're looking for and what we need is someone who has the courage to be more than just a pawn of silence, to be more than just someone who is focused on getting more corporations in here to pay for permits. Mm-hmm. We need someone who's going to stand up and protect the people and protect our lungs and our air, and do so in a way that is sustainable for our future. And so it is going to take courage. It's going to take a movement away from the cowardice of silence.
That's right.
We have to move into a place where people are motivated and they care for Black people. They care for poor people. They care for the people who have been exploited for decades. And so what we're looking for is for a continued growth. There has been, in some ways, on the city council, we have some folks who have supported us, especially Councilwoman Cooper Sutton. We, on the Shelby County Commission side, have a couple of commissioners who've done great work to help us to move forward environmental justice in the city of Memphis and the county of Shelby County. And so for us, we need someone who's going to continue to elevate that. Because our air cannot be sacrificed. We have no other plan. There is no other option for us. Elon Musk may be able to go to Mars, but we're stuck here.
Right.
We're going to be in Memphis. We're going to be in Shelby County, and we need someone who's going to stand up for us.
Talk about, of course, cancer, asthma, mortality rate. We're seeing a shift across healthcare access to care and funding across the nation. Are healthcare providers across the Mid-South prepared to properly deal with this issue of patient influx that we could possibly see, or that we are already seeing?
No, it's a great question. What is happening at the national level is going to impact us significantly locally. The lack of access to Medicaid and Medicare is going to impact hundreds of thousands of people across our state. There are already 300,000 people who can't even afford Medicaid, right? Who aren't even in Medicaid, who are supposed to be in Tennessee. And I'm sure the number is similar, even though there's been some good efforts by folks here in Mississippi to expand Medicaid access. So we are woefully prepared for what is going to happen in two ways. One, it's about to be summertime. Smog is going to be at its highest during the summer. And so we're going to see more people triggered with respiratory illnesses. In fact, one of our elders and leaders in the movement was in the hospital this past week because of pneumonia and a respiratory illness in Boxtown, right? So there's one part of this where in the ER, we're going to see difficult challenges. The other is we're not seeing administrative action to actually protect our community.
That's right.
Tip O'Neill said this, all politics is local, right? The truth is our health departments in Mississippi and Arkansas, in Tennessee, could put forward practices to protect our air quality.
That's right.
To reduce the amount of pollution that industry is putting into our communities.
That's right.
That could be happening.
Yeah.
And that's something we need to realize. Elected officials have a responsibility to protect our air quality. It isn't secondary, it isn't a second thought, it's
That's
a first thought. If we can't breathe, nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. So administratively, we are seeing a significant gap from those who are supposed to be protecting our environment, but protecting our health, public health, that aren't doing it. And so not only am I concerned about the fact that nationally we're going to see some serious repercussions, and there's going to be a lack of care and lack of access for people, particularly people who are poor and people who are suffering with asthma and other respiratory illnesses. But then administratively, we're seeing a lack of consciousness and conscientiousness from the people who are supposed to protect us. And the idea that we have to somehow, you have economic development or you sacrifice the environment or if you start caring about the environment, there can be no economic development. It's like, it's 2025. People should be smarter, more capable, and be able to connect with enough thought leaders and enough engineers and enough leaders to come to the right consensus about how to help move a community forward by listening to the community. And literally just like on this point, they keep talking about how the next turbines xAI might get are going to have pollution reduction. Why hasn't the mayor demanded the current ones have it?
Come on.
It's 35 of them there now that have pumped 17.2 tons of formaldehyde, over 100 tons of nitrogen oxides, more than the Memphis International Airport, into DeSoto County, into Shelby County, into Crittenden County. Why can't you demand that now? What are we waiting on?
That's right.
And this is weak political leadership at a time where we need moral and courageous political leadership that also prioritizes the people. It's a great question, and I'm worried, right? Like everybody should be terrified, because it's not just what's happening with Trump, right? It's what's happening with your mayors. It's what's happening with these quiet state representatives. It's like, y'all, it's right here. You don't have to go to DC to see the problem. It's right here in our community. And so that's why we standing up. That's why we fighting back as civic organizations, as elected officials, as people of good conscience.
Let me just add one more thing.
Chair Taylor? Oh, okay, hold on.
Let me add one thing to your question, and it was a thoughtful question. Director Taylor had not proposed or pushed forward or had passed anything that was concerning to air pollution. And so as we face her departure, one thing that we also are looking forward to and demanding is that she deny the permit to xAI, because the courage that you have not shown, the challenge in this moment is to show up.
So, of course, Chair Taylor, I know Jackson, Mississippi, of course, we had water issues for quite some time. Just talk to me, just with this air pollution, of course, it damages workforce productivity and overall economic activity. I guess, how do you see this move by xAI impacting businesses, both big and small, across the Mid-South? Let's go over into Portugal, not only just the Mid-South.
Well, the workforce is important. Yes, Mississippi is a poor state. We all agree with that. But there is no sacrifice, especially from the world's richest man,
Come on.
that could come into the poor state and actually operate without permits. to operate in a fashion that actually disregards decency, health, but more importantly, disregards the idea that we can circumvent activists, legislators, and government to do so. This is almost as egregious as a terrorist attack that is domestic. So yes, the city of Jackson has done with lots of issues, but we're getting those things together and on the way. But have an outside agitator come in, such as Elon Musk, who does not respect the rule of law. And that's been seen all over the country as far as how these things are deployed.
That's right.
So we have to be very pragmatic. And just like the gentleman said, politics is local. So if we don't stand up as a people, then these things are actually considered to be agreed upon and that we're complicit.
That's right.
And so when our voices don't rise high enough to actually meet Elon Musk's ears and say we won't tolerate that, then we'll be in the same predicament. Let me put it, I got a friend that says it like this, let me put it where the goats can get it.
All right.
And that's simply this: would you like a hog farm by your as a neighbor? You wouldn't. Would you like several dumping stations as a neighbor? No, you wouldn't. But to couple that with the historic degradation of how African Americans are treated as far as the location of these types of plants in our neighborhood, that makes us sicker, less healthier, and not enjoy the ability of working in an environment that actually a breed of retirement. We could go around the state of Mississippi and find bad actors that are actually reducing the life expectancy of folks in our communities. In the city of Jackson and Mississippi, that we have so much to deal with. This is one thing that we will fight against at every turn, because this is too much, too often, and we have to be in control of the situation. And we control our voices. Therefore, we're here today speaking to folks like you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's right.
I got a question. I don't know who can answer it. Has there been a concerted effort or concerns from DeSoto County leaders about this?
Yeah, where's the chairwoman? So we have our DeSoto County.
But I'm talking like
the mayors and people here.
mayors and county mayors and sheriffs and
So
people of those
we're
sorts.
inviting all those folks into this conversation. I think our organizing our alliance with folks here in DeSoto County is really beginning, and this is kicking that off. But we need for them to be as informed and educated about what has been explored here for DeSoto County as we are about what's happening in Southwest Memphis, because we're interconnected.
That's right.
Because
Right.
we don't want the pollution, not just for 38109, though that's where I live. We don't want it for DeSoto County.
right.
And we want DeSoto County not to want that level of pollution, not just for DeSoto County, but also for their folks who are just a little bit north, because we are sharing this air, right? And we're all currently out of non-attainment, which is why we petitioned the EPA. And so this is a start. This is not the end, but we certainly are going to be looping them into. Go ahead, Scott.
What's really important here is how sneakily this is happening. We only know what the intentions are in DeSoto County because we filed a Freedom of Information Act request to the EPA and discovered their plans. Have those been shared with any city leaders? Maybe the mayor might know about it. We don't know whether they know about it because it wasn't done in a public way. It was done in a way like, he basically asked EPA, can I get away with this? Is really the document that we discovered. And we'd be happy to share that with folks. And so I don't think that the local leaders are aware of the problem yet, or the problems that might cascade from this point. Because, this is just the start. This guy's going to want to build more. And there's more being built across the river in Crittenden County by Google. We have been targeted in this region as the place to set up these data centers, to suck up this massive amount of energy, put pollution into our communities, and our leaders have not been informed because the rules that other companies would have to follow have not been followed here.
Yep. That's right. That's right. Great question.
I have a question for President Herman Moore. Following last week, MLGW asking NAACP headquarters for an apology for spreading misinformation. Are you willing to offer an apology on their behalf? What are your thoughts on the legality?
I find that humorous. The Memphis branch in the state conference does not owe Doug McGowan anything.
That's right.
Doug McGowan
That's right.
owe the community to follow the guidelines of MLG and W,
That's right.
which hasn't been done.
That's right. So, well,
Amen.
uh, Yesterday, commercial.
Hey, yeah.
Memphis City Council is going to do the second reading for the environmental reform on data centers tomorrow. You guys optimistic that will continue to gain support, or do you feel like City Council is going to butch that up and table it for, intermediate future?
Yeah, look, we need more regulation and legislation related to data centers, but we also need for the laws that are currently in place, such as the Clean Air Act, our local implementation plans, the EPA's enforcement action against our counties to actually have next steps. And so we're going to continue to work with City Council, County Commission on legislation that we can support. And I think this might go ahead and make it past the second reading, but we want to take some more time to inform and educate our community as well. We don't want many things to get passed and everybody not be informed equally just across our community.
You mentioned too, and kind of alluded to it, some of the negligence of city leaders.
Yeah.
Just the difference in knowledge on xAI
Mhm.
and revenue tax and denounce between Mayor Lee Harris and Mayor Paul Young. Where does that leave you just in faith that city and county leadership is going to be on the same page with this for any progressive?
I mean, it is apparent that city leaders and county leaders are not on the same page. Mayor Lee Harris said he hadn't even talked with Paul Young about this tax situation that he's talking about. And Mayor Paul Young, every time he gets up, he's saying it's $30 million, but the city's not getting $30 million. The city's going to get roughly $15 or $16 million. You think the county commission and Mayor Lee Harris is going to let Paul Young determine where they spend their money? Like, it's just not going to happen. And so again, these things are becoming talking points, but for us, it's our lives.
That's right.
And our lives are not worth what somebody's saying is a couple more dollars in taxes. It's just not. If you wanted to, and this is what he said in his most recent talking points on national news, he said, the 38109 area, it has houses that are dilapidated and it has one grocery store and it needs investment. Of the 800 million you got now, you can't put money towards those things. We have to suffer and have pollution that kills us in order to start getting some investment. And at the same time, we get an edge board that says, well, you need to give companies pilots in order for them to come. So don't pay taxes for them to come, or because they're paying taxes, allow them to come and hurt you. We got a church.
Right.
We got a messed up situation here, and it isn't only political cowardice; it's intentional political ignorance, and it's willful negligence, and what I call political malpractice. Because simultaneously, Mayor Young and the Chamber of Commerce is going around Memphis, privately meeting with pastors, privately meeting with community-based organizations, trying to pitch why this is such a good idea. In every meeting they in, it's people who support us.
That's right.
And so you can't continue to spread false narratives and myths and half-truths. If you want to come to the table and have a real conversation, we better do it with facts. We have lawyers and scientists who put together 20 and 50, and our EPA petition is 228 pages long. If you want to read something and learn something and operate from the truth, then let's do that. But stop using the Chamber of Commerce's talking points. Their goal is in their name.
That's it.
Commerce. When you're an elected or appointed official, your job is to serve people.
That's it.
Not corporations. Now it seems like Memphis mayor, corporations got a mayor.
That's it.
Memphis needs a mayor.
That's
Our
it.
people need a mayor. We need folks who are going to listen and advocate and use their positions of power, not to spread the talking points of the richest man in the world and his corporation and Valero and Nucor, TVA, all these corporations, forget them, care about us, because I'm convinced that if you listen to the people, if you listen to what we're asking for, if you hear about the issues and the concerns that we have, you will make better decisions. But it was so sad to see the mayor of one of the blackest cities in the country have to get on national TV and say, well, I'm not a spokesperson for xAI. If you gotta say it, then you probably doing some things that make you look like you the spokesman for xAI. And the amount of political capital and energy that he's investing into supporting this project is worrisome. Yeah. And I don't know why he's doing it. I can't say. I'm not going to speculate, but I am going to tell you that it's worrisome. All the issues that we got, and he's spending a lot of time and effort defending xAI. The first meeting, and I'm going to this meeting on Tuesday. Y'all can come after. I'll tell you what happened. Going to the meeting Tuesday with the mayor. The first time I've ever seen him invite all state leaders to City Hall is to have a meeting to defend xAI. All the problems we got. Like, what is this? And why are you doing this? Why are you going on national TV? Why are you having all these private meetings? Why are you advocating so much for the chamber? Why are you being the spokesperson for xAI when you're supposed to be representing our city every single day? That's not what mayors do. Anything else, Neil? You want to say something, Scott?
Well, Neil, I really appreciate the coverage you've been doing on this stuff.
Absolutely.
And one of the things, TVA has been mentioned several times today. Mm-hmm. There are 6 huge gas turbines, all wrapped up in pretty plastic wrapping, parked down at the Allen power plant site on Frank Pigeon Park. And there has been no record of decision. They came and listened to the folks a couple months ago. They're supposed to be considering all the things that people brought up. And one of the important things that people brought up is the cumulative impacts of not only Elon Musk's turbines, which at that time we only knew about the ones on Frank Pigeon Park. We didn't know about the ones in DeSoto County. Right. The cumulative impacts of all the trucking terminals with trucks idling their engines all night long, blowing their pollutants into the air. They were supposed to be considering that before they came to a final decision. They have not come to that final decision yet, but the turbines are already there. And that is also a failure of local leadership and of the Shelby County Health Department, which is also considering that permit right now. And until we get on top of the cumulative impacts, not look at it like, is this particular facility bad or is that particular facility bad? Until we start really looking at it like, how does this all add up? How do these chemicals that are being put into our air interact with each other on a hot, sunny day? We know what they do. They combine and they form smog, which is sending our kids to the hospital.
And on the 16th, we're doing have lunch and learns, and everybody's here going to be invited. We're doing a dinner and learn at Mount Pisgah Missionary Baptist Church at 5:30 to meet with our community again for an environmental justice town hall, because we have the Water Colossus plant seeking a permit at the end of the month. We have Tennessee Valley Authority and their 6 huge combined gas turbines seeking a permit simultaneously. And they said the purpose of it isn't about customer consumption as it relates to individuals. It's about corporate consumption. That's it. And TVA is also here, obviously in DeSoto County, as many of you already know. And so we have to fight for our lives. I've actually never seen this before, but in the permit for public comment that the Shelby County Health Department put out, there was a line in there that said, we intend to approve this permit. How you already intend to approve the permit, but you haven't received any public comment. You haven't received any information from the people who are going to be impacted by it. And so we're already being told, y'all can send in, y'all can say something, but we already sort of made up our mind. But when they get 1,000+ comments from us, hopefully their minds change. And so we have advocacy, and we have an entire effort there to increase the amount of people who are sending in comments, because it is about the cumulative impact. It is about the toxic release inventory facilities and the industrial level pollution that's hurting the lives of people in these counties and in the communities that we care about. And again, pollution has no borders, and so building people power has no borders either.
That's it.
Wendy. Anything else? Okay, Dr. Marshall.
After all that we heard, we should be wild and ready to work.
That's right.
Wow. It is written, how can you love God whom you've never seen and not love the people you see every day? Dear God, we come as humble and as grateful as we can, understanding that as we breathe in and breathe out, We breathe in you. We exhale with
All right.
worship.
You've been
your
watching the
goodness and your
live press
grace. We pray
conference.
today for
You
the
can see they're
continued
ending
power,
now with a prayer.
the continued
That press
peace,
conference
your
was
continued
led by
presence
Representative
to
Justin
keep on
Pearson.
pushing for your glory.
Several
That
speakers
your
took the
people
podium
might
today,
receive the
including Kermit
covering
Moore with
that
the
they need.
NAACP. You
Let
could
us
hear the
stand in
passion
gap
and
in
emotion
our
at times.
various ways,
We will,
our
of course,
very
have more on this
opportunities,
coming up on
wherever
ABC
the door
24 News at
opens, so we
midday,
can
as well as our
speak
shows coming up this
justice, and we
evening
can speak
at 5
of,
and 6. Thanks again for
protection,
watching
guidance,
24
dear
Plus.
Lord.
Remember, you can
Let your
always
Holy Spirit
rewatch
guide
24
us
Plus
in the right
anytime.
path, speak
I'm
the
Ruben
right
Diaz.
word.
Thanks for watching.